The truth is, many people ask such a question on occasion, and to the extent that they do, they have an element of netzach within them. But a netzach-rooted person usually ends up with the truth and decides and acts accordingly. No rationalizations. You see people, I've been there, you see people, myself personally, you see people say, should we be doing this? Is it really worth it? But we fall prey to confusion, yitzhara, peer pressure. But a netzach-oriented person, he knows the truth, and he acts according to it. 4. Sacrificing eternity for the temporal goes against his nature, and it is this that gives such an individual the strength of character to walk away from the temptations of the yitzhara that others often fall head over heels to fulfill. It was the lesson of the man, and why Moshe's name is not mentioned in this week's Parsha. He could be invisible to everyone else, and yet still maintain a sense of being and purpose. But simcha, he didn't have to be out in the open. He didn't have to be mentioned. He didn't have to be visible. He was simply a simcha person goes about his business, his avodas Hashem, his service of God, with joy as if it doesn't make a difference. Who knows what he's doing in the end? Just like a true Kohen Gadol, just like a true Tzelem Elokim. That's what the Kohen Gadol and a true person who's living in the image of God, that's the way they live. Amalek and later Haman came to war against this trait and still wars against this trait, probably more so today than ever before, which is why he chose the day of Moshe Rabbeinu's death to plot his genocide of the Jewish people. But as always, as we said before, the Gemara Megillah points out, the cure preceded the illness. So the 7th of Adar was also Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday, and therefore a day imbued with the trait of Netzach. And thus, when it was all said and done, and Amalek was pushed aside for the time being, the Jews had light, gladness, joy, and honor, the natural outcome of life once Amalek is finally vanquished and eliminated. So, B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zeicher to learn the lesson of the man. Yesh, you have what you have. To be besimcha in our avodas Hashem and smech b'chokeinu, that we're happy with the portion that we have and not feel a sense of need and lack. Ambition is fine, but not to the extent that it makes a person dissatisfied and discontent and jealous and greedy and all these negative traits, because you have to know, the moment you begin to feel this way, you start to get depressed, you become vulnerable to the suffering, the doubt of Amalek, and he starts to take over your own personal life and the life of Klal Yisrael. And then that becomes the basis of the enemies that eventually attack us. Haman come to teach us. If we reach the level of simcha, we are strong as we can be against any psychological and therefore physical attack of Amalek. We should merit to reach such a level, and through that also to have the light and the simcha and joy our ancestors had on Purim, this Purim, and from this point onward. Purim Sameach.